It is the Jim and Terry Show, and we're getting wound up by UFOs, by alien abductions, by probes of some sort, and some abductions, things, were they all wearing Nike shoes and got abducted by a mothership? I don't know.
Yes, I am worked up.
You are?
I am, because I'm sick of this.
This is a pet peeve for you.
It is a pet peeve.
The government never says anything about the...
Everybody listen to me for a
UFO
minute.
files, yeah.
Since Roswell...
1947.
Way back for 70 years, they've had secret files, secret organizations, many deaths, all kinds of stuff that is secret. They've had government committees. Right now there's a government committee, and some very top prominent officials are on those committees. None of them ever come out after 70 years and say, nothing to see here. We're not going to investigate. Whenever they said there's nothing to see here, they didn't close the book.
Or close the doors.
They
did close the doors.
I'm telling you.
And that's where you got the real truth, was behind the closed doors, and nobody ever heard what the behind closed doors was.
Well, that was another thing. We watched it. I know we've said this before. But they had all these closed door meetings. Mm-hmm. They would have a public meeting and say nothing, and they would all say, well, that's for the closed door meeting. Yeah, but what about this? What are we looking at here? That's for the closed door meeting. You wouldn't have a closed door meeting if there's nothing. They're looking at nothing. And then after all those closed door meetings, they come up, and Adam Schiff doesn't go to the mic and say, this is a big bunch of crap.
No.
And he's a serious guy.
Yeah.
They continue on. And I told you that one guy came out of the committee, and the reporter was pushing him for answers. He said, just make sure you lock your doors. And he goes, what? And the guy walked away. There's something going on. I don't know if it's dimensional, all that crap, but there's something there. And then Trump 3 weeks ago says, I am going to release the UFO files. Matter of fact, it was also a promise of his running his for re-election. I'm going to release the UFO files. So he mentioned it 3 weeks ago. Then 2 weeks after that, he said, yes, we're going to start looking into the releasing. Oh, shut up. What do you mean? So there's something you're hiding. There's something that the human race is not allowed to know, because we know Russia knows it too. If the United States does, we know many leaders in the world know something is there. And it is so diabolical. I don't mean to scare anybody. They won't let you know. And it may simply be the fear of there will be no more religion. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's that diabolical or that earth-shattering.
Faith-shattering.
We have got so nulled and dulled that we can't say you're not going to be investigating something for 70 years that isn't existing. At billions and trillions of dollars investigating in something that doesn't exist. There's something there you're not telling us. It's as simple logic.
Well, to ground it in science, I was listening to Carl Sagan, and then I followed that up with listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, both of whom are sketchy on the whole alien thing, both of them arguing that it's virtually impossible to see, and they use the Fermi paradox to talk about the impossibility of Earth being discovered by anybody at any point. So there's that part of it, and then there's the... I don't know about you and our phones listening to us, because I've been seeing a lot of UFO documentary shows pop up on my... Yep. Have you been seeing that?
Well,
Is it because they listen to the Jim and Terry Show? Remember, folks, you heard it here first.
Bobby and me were talking about it, and this has happened, I think, 3 times now, where we're talking, and it's the same place, so there's something in the neighborhood. My phone does this, and we're gone. Someone has to call back.
While you are driving home.
While I'm driving to Christina's or wherever I'm going, I'm talking to my brother Bob. And now, one time we both heard it. 2 times after that, so it's been 3 times. 2 times after that, he never heard it, but I did.
Are you missing time?
Well, no. That I think I would find that out pretty quick, yeah. But it goes, and bang, he's gone. Or I'm gone. And one time we both heard that, like a psycho fax machine. Remember the fax machine? Like a psycho fax machine. And almost nerve-wracking. It's such a weird sound.
You're talking about the sound of modems when they used to dial up the modems?
I
Is
don't
that what
know,
you sound?
but it just goes gone.
Can I ask you to sample that sound that you just did and send it off to a Google investigation, see if it can identify?
It's actually weird, that very stranger than that.
No.
With layers of different, but layers of different.
Ooh,
and
you got the grays mixed in with
I'm not nervous about it or worry about it. I drive home very late at night.
and you don't look up.
No, but it is funny to say that. I remember one time I was talking to my son in Calgary once, and this was years ago, 25 years ago. And I was in the living room. We started talking about they're taping you, they're listening to you. They can listen to what we're saying. I remember I was in the living
aliens?
room, and I think it was landline. It would have been a landline phone.
Okay.
And I said they could be listening right now. And all of a sudden it went, and you heard a room chattering, like a whole office chattering. And I said, see, what are the chances, Jeremy? Just look, it was almost like someone went, oh, yeah, watch this. You know, push the button.
They were sitting outside in a white or a black panel van.
Well, I can't believe they'd be monitoring me. I've got nothing to
Well,
do.
I don't know. You remember your father used to talk about chemtrails and stuff. So maybe your dad was, and your dad is former military. So I think the military's onto your family.
So I don't know. What do you think? Don't you think I make a little bit of sense with all this investigation and nobody's saying there's nothing to see? Is it just that they want the money to keep flowing in?
Back in the day, back in the 50s and 60s, I loved the black and white sci-fi.
Yeah.
I loved the drive-in movies with the great horror show, The Blob, and stuff like that. It was the vintage peak, maybe, of sci-fi literature, sci-fi paperbacks. Robert Heinlein, I, Robot, was published in that vintage window. Is some of that just residual culture stuff? Like we're always looking for something interesting and strange?
But the government, why would they tolerate such a thing?
Because the government responds to the people, and if the people are claiming that they've been abducted, then you have to do something. You can't just say, oh, that's an interesting story.
Do you really think Adam Schiff would participate in that?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
So, yeah, and the closed door stuff gets me too. And don't forget, you pointed this out to me, that the report ended up to be, 6 to 8 pages, and most of it was redacted.
And they were offering 900.
And we didn't get even close to it.
And not only that, the first 2 pages were appendix.
So what is the government doing to us, Jim?
I don't know if they're doing anything, but they're not telling us the truth.
Should I get out my tinfoil hat?
No, I wouldn't worry about nothing. It's going to be the same old, same old. My whole point between this show was, because we talked about the 10 scientists, 6 dying, 4 gone missing. My whole point is we get lulled into oh, well, it's nothing. When it isn't just nothing. I've watched it on TV. I've seen them pull the wool over our eyes when they're going to go into closed session. And that means we can't see what they don't. We can't see the nothing that they're seeing.
Right.
This does not make sense to me.
It doesn't.
Yeah, and them continuing on with these meetings and not just making a statement. Folks, it looks like we're alone.
Are we the only ones who are perplexed by all of this?
Yes, it's just
your association, your circle, your acquaintances, your church community, your broader association of friends and whatever. Does anybody say...
It doesn't usually go to anything to do with space. Always has a tongue-in-cheek to it. You know, Elon doing anything, Jim? You know, because they know I'm interested in the rocket.
There's going to be a launch coming.
I got a group of people that are spiritual with it, and funny enough, any of the negative conversations about Trump, and then I've got my friends I hang out with that have zero interest
in anything,
in anything like that. And I think if people would just listen to our show and just say, listen to what Jim and Terry just said, it doesn't make sense that there's nothing. You don't spend that money don't spend that time for 70 years and not just simply say, guess what, nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah, at some level, logic seems to dictate that something must be there, and something's being written about and discovered, but not made public.
Yeah.
Hence the behind closed doors. Are people who have seen, like you claim you saw something,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
pulled over to the side of the road
Yep.
and you saw it and you described it to whatever it was, the RCMP or something. So you've seen that. I have not in my life seen anything that qualifies even close to what you think you saw. And I'm going to say what you think you saw because without a picture, even we had a picture, they're all grainy photographs of stuff and we can't even tell. In this day and age with all the phone technology, phones that are better than telescopes, nobody can get a clear
Well, my eyeball
picture.
saw it as clear as a bell, and it was beautiful. Matter of fact, the military guy said, if you could describe it in one word, what would that word be? I said angelic. He went, angelic? And then I tried to explain to them, there these perfect 4 orbs passed by with glowing lights perfectly around them like halos. It was angelic.
There you go. Jim saw an angelic orb. The Jim and Terry Show, exploring things that maybe don't add up to retired guys with a coffee. Stay tuned. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
It's complicated, this relationship I have with my